Hello and welcome back to West Coast Davengers. I'm your host, Dave. Before we get started, hit the like button, subscribe if you're not, and drop a comment down below. Tell me what it's like for you to experience looking through this book firsthand or secondhand. Yeah, there's my hands. All right, so today I'm bringing you a flip through of Amazing Spider-Man 3. You know, it's not just the third Amazing Spider-Man book, but it is the first appearance of Doctor Octopus. Why am I doing this? Well, it is the evening before my Wednesdave claim sale, and I am putting this up for sale. So if I do sell it tomorrow, well, there it goes. It's gone. I'm never going to see it again, or at least not this copy. But if it doesn't, well, you still get the flip through anyway. I have a big, I bought a collection of Amazing Spider-Man books a couple of years ago, and I just kind of slowly let them sell one by one when I felt like selling one. And well, I just feel like it's time to let this one go. Not my favorite book for any reason, and not my least favorite book for any reason. But my first appearance of Mysterio is the Ditko one that I want to keep for myself. So without further ado, let's talk about this. Steve Ditko, Stan Lee. You don't get to see what Otto looks like on the cover, but man, what a great cover. I mean, you got Spider-Man held up by his arms, but also kind of in a, Jesus Christ pose. Thank you, Chris Cornell. And it's you know that he's in peril. And you got America's most exciting superhero captured by the world's most dreaded supervillain, which how could he, nobody knew he was the world's most dreaded supervillain. This was his first appearance. But, it's just a striking cover, iconic. And I know a lot of people, at least the first 30 years or 25 years of Spider-Man's existence, people would say that Green Goblin is his main foe. But I always thought it was Otto because Otto knew his identity. Otto was eventually, courting Aunt May. And like he just felt like he was deeper into the psyche. But then Green Goblin also, you could say the same thing. So let's put them on even playing fields. So we open it up and we get this amazing 3/4 splash of, there he is, Doctor Octopus. Like, let's not bury the lead. He's right there. You get the Human Torch also, which is, Ditko touched the torch, so to speak, a lot in Strange Tales. I believe he was doing that stuff too. But anyway, let's focus on Doc Ock. Just a great 3/4 splash, a type of illustration you would never see today. I often say about Ditko, like a lot of people say he was, he drew stuff weird, but his weird is so iconic. And as we'll get to see, I'm not going to go too much through the story. I just want to kind of focus on the design and the illustration element of it. You get, these guys robbing a bank. You get this amazing spider signal, which I guess they ditched eventually. I'm not really sure. I haven't read a lot of Amazing Spider-Man in the late 60s, early 70s. I've looked through a lot of it, but not read it. So you get Otto here and his original contraption, which eventually, I guess, gets fused to him, is so cumbersome, but, it's also 1963 and he's doing Atomic Research Center. Now, Otto is Dr. Octopus is the exception, because I always say that Ditko drew a lot of the supervillains as they look old. And Otto's supposed to be older, but I actually don't think he's probably eclipsed the age of 40 in this, but he looks about 60. Look at that scowl on his face, or whatever, that resting octopus face. Look at this panel. Ditko just doing, his weirdness, but it's to show the explosion that happens. And, it's a trope. It's definitely a comic trope to have a nuclear thing turn somebody into something, or an explosion, chemical, science. You got the Hulk, you got Dr. Manhattan. There's, I think, the Flash too. What's happening with my hands here? What's happening with my hands here? What's happening with my hands here? All right. It's a trope. Edit that part out. Figure it out, Joe. You figure it out. So the explosion, he's got some, what's going on here? Adolf Hitler dyed his hair blonde, and he's a nurse or a doctor. Yeah, look at that mustache. And that's pretty much a swastika, even though it's supposed to be a red cross. But anyway, Steve Ditko and Stanley, we're not blaming you. But just a treat to see the origin of Doctor Octopus. And, it's, once again, the whole thing is a very trope, but I guess maybe this is kind of where the tropes begin, because we're in 1963. So we go flash to Spider-Man, and he's just jumping around the city. He's still kind of discovering himself. I mean, this is very early on in the existence of Spider-Man. Maybe the fourth appearance, but it could be the fifth. Obviously Amazing Fantasy 15, Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, and 3 might have come out right before Strange Tales Annual or right after. I can't remember. So he's climbing up the walls, figuring out, and then all of a sudden he comes upon Doctor Octopus back in a lab doing his thing, tearing up, manhandling this guy here. And, you're not getting too much inventive panel layout by Ditko, even though I know he would do some interesting stuff. But I feel like his dynamics were where you got interesting. As you can see here, he's dodging the tentacles. He's getting hit by the tentacles. He's webbing up the tentacles. Like this reads great. This reads great. But Doctor Octopus becomes, a real big part of Spider-Man's Rogues Gallery, starting here and continuing on for pretty much forever, because he starts the Sinister Six, and there's great history between these two characters. So we have to see Doctor Octopus manhandling Peter. Very interesting here. Like, I mean, I'm sure I'm not one of those people that says, "Oh, Stan Lee didn't come up with any idea," but it's the Rogues Gallery really comes from Ditko's mind, and it's striking to see how much he was able to accomplish in the first 38 issues of Spider-Man that would pretty much go and influence the reinvention of Spider-Man came a little bit, and obviously Todd did it. But I mean, as good as Romita is amazing. It's just the weirdness of Ditko is very appealing to me. So we get the Fantastic Four, because they're involved in kind of everything in Marvel in New York at that time. And look at Peter's supposed to be a high school student. He looks like a 35-year-old dude that's been working a job for 15 years, and he's still pissed off that he can't change his life. Yet Johnny just looks like a dude. All right, so he's changing back into Spider-Man to go find Doc Ock again. 6-panel grid. These 6-panel grid pages are amazing. Just great visual storytelling of Spider-Man trying to get through this laboratory that Doc Ock has set up to booby trap him, I guess. And they're about to face off again. I really love the way that he draws the tentacles. I really think you could take a look at Sam Raimi and what he did in Spider-Man 2 and trace it back to the way that Ditko was drawing, not the details of the tentacles, but the movement of them. Like here, you can see they're serpents. They're all alive. And here too, they do seem to get longer and shorter, but who's really counting? Iconic right here. Such a great quarter splash right here. We'll be back with the video in just a moment, but I do want to make a special announcement. In 2024, me and my friend Andrew P. published The Many Faces of Jack Kirby, a zine tribute to the many faces that Jack Kirby drew. Well, I have an announcement. Soon you're going to be able to pre-order The Many More Faces of Jack Kirby, the second volume. You can visit westcoastdavengers.com. There's a dedicated part of my website to the zine, and you'll be able to pre-order them. We're also going to print a very limited amount of the first edition, so you're going to be able to pre-order both at the same time. We aim to make them both still $25 a piece. Plus, for the first 50 people that buy one of the zines is going to get a special gift to be announced soon. It's going to be awesome. Really excited for this. Now, back to the video. So they beat the shit out of each other for pretty much the entirety of this book until Spider-Man subdues him. And don't forget, we can learn 1,000 magic tricks. And there's the spider signal again. And they find him webbed up. And, Spidey's going back to the Fantastic Four. And I don't know what Johnny's doing there. But these two have been, teammates and friends since the beginning. And that's what I love about Ultimate Spider-Man is they continue that in there. So yeah, the story's typical, and it's a great way to introduce the character. You get 2 great fights. You get a ton of Doc Ock. You get a ton of Spider-Man. This is a great way to sell a book. It's a great way to sell a new villain, and just a great comic overall. So check this out. You got the Spider's webpage. We'll look at that in a second, but you got an advertisement for the first Sergeant Fury, the first appearance of Nick Fury. And that's a really tough book to find, actually. Very underrated because, in the 60s, the early 60s when this was coming out, you got your FF1, you got your X-Men 1, you got your Avengers, you got all that. This just kind of goes under the radar, and it's a pretty tough book to find. And then this, don't miss the return of Doctor Doom in the new greater than ever issue of Fantastic Four. I don't know what number that is because his first appearance is very early on. So maybe it's that second appearance. Is that what they're advertising? But someone chime in the comments if they know if that's supposed to be the second appearance or an issue after that. So we get the Spider's Web, which is, obviously not just a great letters column, but it would go on to be names of other things, including the store that Todd McFarlane owned with his brother-in-law just 10 miles from where I live right now. You get a letter from Tom Jones because it's not unusual to be loved by anyone. Look at this dynamic. See, Spidey's listening to Tom Jones and getting down. And then last page, obviously, we got some more letters. Nobody that stands out in the names column that I know. And then there we go. Don't forget to look for one of the greatest trademarks in comics, Spider-Man. And that's it. That's that's what it's like to look through an Amazing Spider-Man number 3. It's a lot of fun to look through stuff like this, especially in its original print form, not recolored, with the love that you see that was, the person that owned this before me. But this is actually in really good condition. I have it around for you grade people, I have it around 2.5 to a 3.0. But, it may sell tomorrow or it may not sell and go right back into the collection. We will see. But just wanted to give you a nice little flip through of that. So thank you. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe. If you're subscribed, please hit the bell so you don't miss a video. And my sales happen on West Coast Wednesdave. That is every second or every other Wednesday. I have a podcast called Direct Edition. You can find all the links down for it in the description below, but it has its own YouTube channel. Anyway, have a great day. Keep digging. Peace.